إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وأن كل محدثة بدعة كل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Brothers and sisters, Imam Al-Awza'i was sitting among his students. He was explaining the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He told his students that every hour in your lifetime will be revealed in front of your eyes on the day of judgment. Hour after hour, day after day. And whatever hour passes by that you in your lifetime did not remember Allah Almighty will be an hour of pain and grief and loss. Amr ibn Abdul Qais, he was dying, and the last few moments before his death, he started to cry. So those who were around him, they said to him, "Are you afraid of dying?" He said, "No, I'm not afraid to die. And I'm not worried about what I leave from valuables behind. I really miss two things in my lifetime that I want to be able to do after my death. Fasting and night prayer, that is qiyam." In these few situations, Imam Ibn al-Qayyim came from his advice several hundred years ago to Muslims till the day of judgment. To those among us who wish to relax in their lifetime and postpone things till before their death, that is, if they are able to achieve it. He said, for a worshipper, the only place to relax is under a tree in heaven. He said to you and me, get busy in your life to what serves you in the hereafter. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the hadith that Imam Al-Awza'i explained to his students. He said in this hadith, the only moments people in heaven feel sorry about are certain hours in their lifetime they did not remember Allah Almighty. Imagine this, they are in heaven, they did not disobey Allah, but yet because of the pleasure they are in heaven, they wish they were able to fill every single hour of their lifetime in remembering Allah Almighty. Imam Al-Ghazali comes to shake up Muslims who wish to relax and to come to help and serve and remind you of something that's extremely important. He said, when Allah Almighty loves a worshipper, you can see yourself doing all types of good deeds. That is, when you see yourself doing all types of worship matters, all types of good deeds, it's a sign that Allah loves you. And Allah is supporting you. And Allah is giving you the doors and opportunities, not because of your actions. These are opportunities Allah Almighty gives it to you in order to excel in your relationship with Allah. And likewise, Imam Ghazali said, and the same thing is true for those who waste the times of real value and bounty in other actions that are hated by Allah Almighty. It's a sign that Allah is not supporting them. Ramadan is the time where every single hour is multiplied. It's the time of maximum reward. When you see yourself in Ramadan performing at your best, it's not because of your goodwill. It means that Allah Almighty is pushing you and supporting you, that Allah wants you and Allah loves you. So you thank Allah Azza wa Jal, and you perform up to your peak performance in the month of Ramadan. Imam Ibn Taymiyyah says in a few words and in a very short statement, he said, what counts is the perfect finish. What counts is the perfect finish, regardless of how imperfect the beginning is. In our daily lives, you want to buy an item. For example, this piece of wood. In order to maximize the price of it, it will be in the finishing, as we say. When you see two items, one is expensive, one is cheap, the value is in what we say, the finishing. When Imam Ibn Taymiyyah says what counts is the perfect finish, regardless of how the end. It is a statement of a real value. It's a statement to you and me, who perhaps in Ramadan, our beginning was a little bit weak. Perhaps we have some shortfalls in the beginning of Ramadan. He is telling you, make sure that you end your relationship with Allah in a perfect matter. That is, tonight is the 25th night of Ramadan. Only 4 or 5 days are left. Don't let go, don't relax, don't fall back. Make sure that you end Ramadan in a perfect finish. That is, you show Allah Almighty you are at your peak performance until the last minute of Ramadan. You show to Allah Almighty that you are sincere by the finish, the perfect finish. Imam Al-Hasan-Al-Basri comes to remind you and me. He said, do good in what is left of your lifetime. Allah will forgive you what you have done in the past. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان يوم الدين. Few hours left before the end of the maximum value days of your lifetime. 3 hours, 4 days left. A few hours and 4 days left before the end of Ramadan. Every single hour counts and every single minute counts and every single action is maximized to a level that you and I cannot imagine, because it's the reward from Allah Almighty. You remember yourself before Ramadan who you were, and you remember yourself during Ramadan who you are. You remember yourself before Ramadan how your worshiping performance in your relationship with Allah was, and during Ramadan how high it became. 30 days of solid performance, of peak performance in fasting, prayer, qiyam layl, reading Quran, supplication to Allah Almighty, zakat, fitrah, helping Muslims. 30 days of continuous peak performance and behavior. 30 days are enough for a human being to let these habits become part of his own habits. 30 days is enough to make it a habit that after Ramadan you maintain that performance. There is no excuse. 30 days, non-stop 30 days. Allah has given you the opportunity to change your lifetime, to change your direction in the days to come. 30 days. We have sampled the sweet taste of faith, the sweet taste of prayer, the sweet taste of fasting. We started enjoying the Quran, enjoying the hadith, enjoying the supplication, close relationship with Allah in these 30 days. Never let it go away. People wish that they would die in Ramadan. A lot of people wish that their that Allah Almighty would take them at their peak performance. Ramadan will soon end. A few hours or days it will end. Ramadan is your only station to fill yourself with the spiritual power that you need for the next year to come. It is your spiritual station. This is where you fill yourself spiritually in order to perform in the next year to come. Every hour counts. Every action counts. Fill up yourself in your relationship with Allah. Review everything in yourself and make sure to ask Allah Almighty that you maintain that peak performance in your relationship with Allah for the year to come. Bishr al-Hafi, people came to him and said, there are people who worship Allah in the month of Ramadan and they do their top performance in Ramadan. He said, and those people after Ramadan, they forget everything. He said, these are the worst type of people. Don't they know that Allah is in Ramadan and after Ramadan? Don't they know that Allah should be worshipped not only in the month of Ramadan, also the rest of the year? The pious person or the person who fears Allah is the person who performs throughout the year. My dear brothers and sisters, these are a few words I remind myself and you in the last Friday of Ramadan. Few days left, top performance is required, and what counts is the perfect finish. Imam Hassan al-Basri, as I mentioned in the khutbah, he said, do the best in what's left from your life. Allah will take care of the rest and He will forgive you for that. I ask Allah Almighty to accept our deeds in the month of Ramadan. And I ask Allah Almighty that everything we've done in the month of Ramadan to be maximized to its fullest. And I ask Allah Almighty to keep us sincere in every action that we do in Ramadan. And I ask Allah Almighty to give us the sense of appreciation when we do something good. It's because of the will of Allah, the love of Allah. And this will move us to do even more to help people and to be in best relationship with us and Allah Almighty. I ask Allah Almighty, the few moments or the days of the relationship we had in the Quran in the month of Ramadan will continue even after Ramadan. And I ask Allah Almighty at our top performance in the 5 prayers in the masjid to continue for the rest of our lifetime. And I ask Allah Almighty to give us the best finish in the month of Ramadan. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم